what do we consider when we are describing objects? Because remember, objects are not, they are non-living things. So what do we use when we are describing non-living things? We consider the size of the object. We describe the objects looking at the size. Some objects are big, others are small, others are long, and so on. We also look at the shape of the object. Some shapes are squared, others are rectangular, others are oval, circle, and so on. So those are the shapes we look at when we are trying to describe the objects. 2, we also look at the color. What's the color of your house? So I can say a green house. What's the color of your shirt? I can say a black shirt. So we look at the color as we describe objects. We also look at the materials. When we are looking at the objects, I want to describe something, but I want to look at the material. How was it made? For example, our table here, this is a wooden table. I describe it using the material in which it was got from. So we use the materials. And also we looked at the purpose. What's the purpose of that object? Is it a glass for drinking water? Is it a glass for putting in flowers? So the purpose of that object, so I can describe or I can tell you to get me that object, you following the purpose or the use of that object. I can also describe the object looking at origin. Where was it made from? For example, if I want a watch which was made from USA, I can say I want that one from USA. Or if there is any in Uganda, I can ask that one from Uganda. I'm looking at the origin of the object. That's how I can describe it if I want you to get me one. And then lastly, we looked at the opinion of the object. How would you like the object? Is it a good one? Is it a good chair? Is it a good table? Is it a hard one? So we look at the opinion, how you consider that object. So from that one, let's look at our topic today. We are going to look at some different objects and adjective words which we shall use to describe our objects. Remember, the adjectives, these are words we use to describe the objects, or they tell us more about what we are talking about. If I'm talking about a chair, I should describe it using the adjective words. Now, I have my picture here. We are going to use the right word to describe it. Maybe what I have to tell you about the picture, we can see a young girl down here carrying something on the head, and we are calling this one a sack. So if I want to describe this sack, I'll call it a heavy sack. I call it a heavy sack. I am describing, following the size, it's a heavy sack. We are describing the object, the sack, which is heavy. I also have my other object here. We are going to describe this object together. That is a chair. But when you look at it properly, the way you see it, we can describe it as a rough chair. It's rough. Because I don't think when you sit here, you will not feel anything the way it was made. That means this chair is rough. We are describing it. I also have another object here. This is my pencil. My pencil here, which I described as a long pencil. Remember, children, we are looking at the adjective words which we use to describe objects. So what we have here, these are the simple objects which we are trying to describe using our adjective words, like heavy, rough, and long. Let's continue. I have another object here. which is a door. Now we are looking at the shape. If it's a door, what type of a door is that? We are going to call it a squared door. The shape, it is a squared door. We are describing it. That's how we have come up with that one. I also have something here. You can call it a stick, or you can call it a piece of chalk. But we are looking at the size. The size of that stick. We are going to call it a short stick. A short stick. We are getting the adjectives. So before we read through our adjective words, let's go for a short break. We shall come back and read through our adjective words.
Time now for Fun Fact.
Yes, my friends, welcome back from that short break. Yes, before you went for that short break, you are with Teacher Lillian taking you through our English lesson. And in our English lesson, we are looking at the describing words which we use to describe people and objects. But today, we are looking at the adjective words, or the words we use to describe objects. Our objects are here. We have tried to draw them, as you see them here. And what we see on the side, those are the adjective words we have used to describe these objects which we have here. We said when we are describing objects, we look at the size of the object, we look at the shape, we look at the color, and so on, as we saw in our previous lesson. Now, our first one, we have the word heavy, trying to describe what we have in the picture here. That means the sack is heavy. We are describing the sack. There might be very many sacks around, but you pick on a heavy one. So somebody can tell you, "Then pick me a heavy sack." You directly go to the sack you feel it is heavy. Also, we looked at our second picture, the chair. When you look at it critically here, you discover that it's a bit rough. So I can describe it as a rough chair, and I say, don't sit on a rough chair. So you go and look for a smooth one, and then you leave the rough chair. We have also looked at our next picture, which is a pencil, and we described it as a long pencil. Remember, children, we are describing objects. We are describing objects. Our fourth object, it's a door. We also describe objects considering the shape. What is the shape of whatever object you are having? What's the shape of your house? What's the shape of the neighbor's house? What's the shape of the teacher's table? What's the shape of your cup? And so on. So for our door here, it's a squared door. So we are describing this one. We saw something here as a stick or a chalk. So you can call it a short stick. Now I said, before we went to our short break, we were supposed to spell our adjective word so that even if I wake you up, you will be able to spell the word. You'll be able to spell the given words. For example, if I give you this word here, which word is that from the words we have seen around? Of course, you know that the teacher is trying to give us the word rough, but not written properly, so that you can be able to arrange the words and you write it properly. So the word is rough, which is R-O-U-G-H, the word rough. So let's write our word correctly. It's not necessary that the teacher will begin with the first word. She can mix them up, but you should be able to learn the spellings. Let's get another word. Our next word stands the way you see it there. Which word are we trying to spell from what we have looked at? Of course, you know we are trying to spell the word long. We are learning the spelling of our adjective words. Let's get another word. Which word is the teacher trying to spell? The teacher is trying to spell the word heavy. Heavy, which begins with the letter H, E, A, V, and Y. Let's continue with our spellings. We spell the word short. With all those letters, if it is to be spelled, you'll be able to spell the word short as S, beginning with S, H, O, R, T. So those are the letters we have in our body word. Then let's spell also our last word which we have looked at. It seems to have so many letters, but that's the word squared. Let's write it properly. So we have tried to spell our words which we have looked at, which we use when we are describing objects. The first word is rough. Rough. The second one is long. Long. Our next word, heavy. Heavy. Short. Short. And our last word is squared. That's how we can learn how to spell the words in English. What you do, you jumble the letters, you mix them up, but with the time, if you know how to read the word, you will be able to spell them correctly, even if they are all mixed up. So those are the words we have tried to spell. Now, let's construct some sentences using our adjective words. Construct sentences using the given words. So that's our instruction. Construct sentences using our given words. Which words? The words we have looked at when we were describing our objects. These are the words. These are the adjectives which we have looked at, and they are the ones we are going to use when constructing sentences. And how should our sentence begin? Begin, it is, and so on. So let's underline our instructions. Our instructions. Remember, children, always to follow the instructions. So before we get the sentences, let's go for a short break. We shall come back and we'll continue with our sentences.
Spell it out!
Good children, welcome back from that short break. I'm teacher once again. Before you went for that short break, we are looking at our adjective words which we use to describe objects. And if we have those words to describe objects, we are supposed to begin constructing our sentences using which words? These ones which we have looked at when we are describing our given objects for today. We'll have rough, long, heavy, short, and squared. We are describing the different objects, looking at their size, looking at their shape, the color, the material, the purpose, origin, and the use. What do we use them for? So these are the words we have tried to come up with. Remember, children, there are so many words. There are so many adjective words which you can use to describe the objects, but today we have tried to get only those ones so that when you go back over there, you will be able to get more adjective words to describe the different objects around you. So let's go to our sentences. Our sentence number 1 is going to begin with, we are going to write our sentences, or we are going to construct our sentences following our pictures and also our adjective word. And we shall say, it is a heavy sack. From our first word, we shall say that it is a heavy sack. Maybe you can even say it is a very heavy sack for her. Because if you can see the person carrying Lily, it is heavy. Our second sentence, we are going to use rough. We shall say, it is a rough chair. That's what we have looked at. Remember, children, adjective words, we use them to describe nouns. And what is a noun? A noun is a name of anything. So what we are trying to describe, those are the nouns, or those are the objects we have looked at. So we are describing the chair, which is rough. We are describing the sack, which is heavy. Let's continue. Number 3, long. We say, it is a long pencil. It is a long pencil. Your mother's bought for you a pencil, so you can describe it as a long pencil or a short pencil. Let's go to our fourth sentence. Who is giving it to us using the word squared? Yes, let's take that one and we say, we are following the instruction and we say, it is a squared door. It is a squared door. It can also be a squared box. It can be a squared chair, table, a squared window. You are describing the noun. Let's get our next sentence, which we are going to call sentence number 5. And we say, it is a short stick. Yes, we have tried to get very simple short sentences, but they are correct. We are trying to develop our speaking skill by first of all, begin with these short, simple sentences using the given words. We have been given the word heavy, but we've tried to construct a sentence saying, it is a heavy sack. You are describing, at the same time, you are constructing very good sentences. So let's read through our sentences. Sentence number 1, it is a heavy sack. Sentence number 2, it is a rough chair. Sentence number 3, it is a long pencil. Next, it is a squared door. You are describing the door. Sentence number 5, it is a short stick. So let's try to underline on our adjective words which we have looked at today. Today, the first one, we look at the word heavy. And I know children, you will be able to write those words correctly. Our next word, we look at the word rough. Our next word, we looked at the word long. Next, squared. And also short. All our adjective words come from the category we gave, what we consider when we are describing the objects, when we are describing the nouns which are our objects, not people. So all these words came from our list. Now children, after constructing these good sentences, you will be able to describe more objects on your own. Look in your classes. Can you describe those objects in your class? The blackboard, the teacher's table, your books, and so on. Go home. Can you describe those objects at home? For example, your mother decided to send you somewhere and she tries to describe something. Can't you bring that one out? You'll be able to describe the object so that the person will understand. If at all you want to be directed or you are directing somebody, you use the describing words for objects. You'll be able. Now, let's try to go through what we have looked at together, and then we shall see our lesson. Today, we have been looking at the words we use to describe objects. We looked at heavy, rough, long, short, squared. Those are the adjectives. And we are looking at these pictures so that we describe them looking at the adjective and the picture. We tried also to learn how to spell our words. We have tried to spell our adjective words. From there, we constructed simple sentences following the instructions. Dear good children, thanks for being with me in my school. Thanks for enjoying the lesson. Let's meet next time. God bless you.
Sarah says,
be kind to others.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Are you feeling stressed? Have you been working too much? Maybe what you need is some R&R.
I just can't get away from technology or work. I don't know what else I can do.
OMG, you are so right. IMO, you need some R&R. You should book a room at a B&B. And if anyone texts you, tell them you'll BRB.
People don't actually talk like that.
R&R is short for rest and relaxation. But we often just say R&R. This is an example of a shortened phrase that you will see in writing and hear in everyday conversation. That is not the case for some of the other things Anna said. And that's English in a Minute.
Hello everyone, welcome to my school. I'm teacher Judith and I'm going to teach you mathematics. We have